Today we're going to be filming a video on how to do a half double crochet washcloth. This is beginner friendly. You are going to need 100% cotton yarn, a 5mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a darning needle to weave in your ends. So let's go ahead and get started. So what you want to do to get started, so let's go over a slip knot. So this is how I make mine. I take my yarn in my hand, wrap it around 2 fingers. You're kind of going to get across like this. And then I put my finger through here. Keep in mind I'm holding my thumb on that yarn there. I grab this piece of yarn on top, pull through, and there you have your slip knot. You can put on your hook and then pull the tail. Sometimes you just kind of have to figure out which part of the yarn you have to pull. And there you go. So, all right, to start, I've actually been joining my tail into the foundation chain as I go, but I'm not going to do that for this tutorial today to keep it simple. So let's start with the basics. We'll zoom a little bit like that. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So start with yarn over and pull through. And I'm going to go ahead and also say, usually when I'm making a dishcloth project, whatever, I never really follow a pattern. I usually just go until, quote unquote, my heart's desire is what I say. But for the purpose of this video, we are going to do a set number of chains. We're actually going to figure out when we get there for the purpose of counting. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look at it really quick. All right, so there's 22 stitches. I definitely think we need to keep going, so let's do a little bit longer. 23, 24, 25, 26. All right, so that's 26. That actually looks pretty good. So we're going to stick with 26 for right now. Let me zoom back out just a little bit. And keep in mind, I'm using 100% cotton for this project. I feel like cotton is the best for making a good scrubber for, let's say you have a dish that has material stuck on it. It's going to scrub really well versus acrylics, not really going to hold up that well. It's a good exfoliator for your face, etc., etc. All right, so we've got 26 chains. You are going to start in the second chain from the hook. So see this one right here? We're not going to go into that one. You already have yarn going through there. So we're going to start here. And you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook and you're going to go in that loop. It doesn't matter what part of the loop you go through. Yarn over, pull through. Now you've got 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. You are going to yarn over. And I always pull down on the project right here as I'm pulling through the loops. Yarn over, pull through all 3. And there you have your first half double crochet. We're going to yarn over. So look. Right here, you can see you've already got your half double crochet stitch through that loop. So you're going to go into the next loop. Again, doesn't matter what part of the loop you go into. I just go into the most open part. Yarn over, put your hook through the loop, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3 loops on the hook again, okay? Yarn over and pull through all 3. And remember, as I'm pulling my hook through the loop with all 3 stitches, I'm pulling on this part of the work. All right, yarn over. We're going to go into this now. See, you can always see that loop right there has the project on the loop. And that's a good way to help keep like memory of which one to go into next. Through, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 3. All right, so I'm going to start going a little bit faster, but hopefully, not too fast. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, wrap around, through the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, and we're just going to keep going. All right, if you want to pause the video here, I'm going to go until there are just a few stitches left, and then we'll meet back up, and then we'll finish the end of the row and turn together. All right, so we've got just a couple stitches left. This is what the project is looking like now. So this is a half double crochet, 2 stitches left. All right, so get your tension back, and we're going to yarn over, insert the hook through the loop, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, insert the hook into the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Oops. You may find that that happens as you're trying to pull through, you get it stuck on part of another piece of yarn, and that's okay. So now that was our last stitch, right? So now that we've done the last stitch, we are going to chain 1. Close that, and then that's my chain. So yeah. All right, you can hear my son downstairs. So now we turned our work, okay? Y'all see how I did that? So I did my chain 1 here, okay? It was in my left hand and dangling down. Now we just switch, turn the project around. So now it's this way, and we're going to go back from right to left. So to start row 2, actually this is technically row 3. So we add our foundation chain and then the second row, and this is row 3. So you're going to yarn over. This is your chain 1 right here, that tiny little V. If I had, you know what? Let me use my other hook to show you. It's like my little pointer. This right here, that tiny V, is your chain 1. Focus, camera. That's your chain 1. You don't want to go in through there. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to insert into this bigger V right here at the bottom part of it. So you're going to go through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, hold on. All right, and pull through 3. Okay, and now we have our first stitch on row 3. Yarn over, insert under both V's. So we've got 1, 2, both V's, yarn over, pull through, and now we've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 3. At the end of this row, we will count, and we should have 25 stitches. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, wrap around, insert under both V's. So you're just going to stick it right there, okay? And that's going to insert under both. Oops, of course I did. And you're going to insert it under both. See, it's under both now. So we've got the V on the top. Wrap around, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, wrap around, insert your hook. And you're just going to keep going until we get close to the end of the row, and then I will meet you back. So go ahead and pause the video, and we will resume in just a minute. I also want to add, if you've noticed, this is a color changing yarn, also known as a gradient yarn. So you're going to see the color change. No, I am not changing my colors as I go. It is a self color changing yarn. So just wanted to mention that. All right, welcome back. We are getting towards the end of the row. So let's pick back up together. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. So at this point, it may look like we're at the end of the row. However, this right here, that is still a stitch in this row. So we're going to yarn over. We are going to insert our hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 3. and then we are going to chain 1 and turn. All right, so let's go ahead and count our stitches. So here's the project so far. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So remember, we chained on 26. That's always going to leave you with 1 less because you go into the second loop from the hook. All right, so now we've already turned our project. We've got our hook back on the right side, our project going to the left. We are going to resume. So remember, this tiny little guy right here, we're not going into that. We're going into this one. Sorry, it's so hard. So that tiny little guy, we're not going into him. You know what? If you can't even see that, don't worry. Great. So yarn over, insert your hook. Keep going. Hopefully you're getting the hang of it. And it's okay. Remember, it's going to take time, a lot of patience, practice. Even in just the past couple weeks. And also keep in mind, it's very important to count your stitches, especially when you're first beginning, because of the fact that we drop stitches. Remember how I just showed you that stitch at the end of the row? That is usually where people are going to drop a stitch. And as you continue to go higher in your project is going to get shorter and shorter, and then it's going to look like a pyramid. So by making sure you're counting every row, every other row when you're first starting off, that is going to help prevent you getting 8, 10 rows down your project and then realize, oh my gosh, I've been dropping stitches. I need to pull this out and I need to start over. So yes, I do have several washcloths that are shaped like triangles because I didn't have it in my heart to pull out the work, and they still function. So if that happens and you don't want to pull out your work and you just want to try again, fasten it off. Use it as is, If you're giving it as a gift, hey, maybe they'll love it. You should probably keep it for yourself and just keep trying. But, kind of approach it however you want to, if that makes sense. All right, so we're actually getting close to the end of this row. So instead of pausing the video again, we're just going to go together. But of course, if you need to pause, if you're only still at the beginning of the row, please pause and then resume the video where you are now when you get to the last stitch or the last 2 stitches or so. So we've got 2 stitches left. So we're going to yarn over. I'm going to insert the hook. Going to pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. And here's that final stitch right there, okay? Going to insert. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to get, it's hard to look at through my camera while I'm doing it. So we got the hook through both, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, and then chain and turn your work. All right, let's go ahead and count again so we can make sure we're still on track. 24 and 25. All right, so now we're going to start back on the project. And if you want to pause here and we'll just work up a couple more rows, feel free to do so, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Also note, it is now turning green, so this is a purple, teal, and green gradient yarn. It looks really, really nice when it's done. I just made my mother-in-law one for her birthday. I made her several for her birthday using different yarns. And anyways, it looks really nice, especially when you do the border. It ties it in really well. So, all right, so I'm on that last stitch of the row. Remember, that last stitch can be tricky. So, sorry, I need to let the camera focus. This is our last stitch right here. Kind of hides just, but I keep taking it out of the frame. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna yarn over and pull through. yarn over, pull through 3, and chain. Then we turn our work. All right, so here's our project so far. Let's keep going. All right, so now we've gotten this far. I just continued, added several more rows. We're still at the same amount of chains, so I'm gonna reinsert my hook. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the work. I did go ahead and chain 1 before I dropped where I was going. We've got about enough yarn left for 1 more row. So I wanted to save this last row to do on camera for you. So let's go ahead and start. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. We're just going to keep going. So, really, so this is actually going to be my last row because as you can see, I'm almost out of yarn. And while this is a good size for a washcloth, dishcloth, whatever, you can, certainly make it as long or as short as you would like. And that's, the beauty of making your own project is you can decide the length, you can decide the width, all of that. So again, that's kind of why I never really follow a set pattern because I kind of want to just decide the size myself. So again, some people like to know how many rows to do, but I think it takes some pressure out of the project when you don't have a set amount of rows and you can decide, oh, I like this length, and kind of go from there. So, all right, we're about 1/3 of the way through the row. And hopefully you found that as you continue to go through your work, that it has gotten easier to do the stitch and that you feel like you're getting the hang of getting to that last stitch in the row, chain 1, turn and start back over. You're getting the hang of, and maybe more quickly, counting your rows, being able to check for errors. Again, it is so common to drop stitches when you're first starting and have a piece that looks like a triangle, sometimes adding stitches on accident as well, which was more of a problem for me with jumbo chenille when I first started with that, making my blankets. And again, counting is what helped me discover where my errors were. So it's just all a learning process. I will show you how to do a border on a washcloth in another video. It's up to you if you want to add a border or not. I think it adds a nice finishing touch, but also they are great without one, especially, if you're just using it to scrub your dishes and you don't need that finishing touch because it's doing the dirty work for you. Of course, it's still always nice to have. And it's a fun little project to practice with on these in case you ever make a blanket and you want to work on adding a border to that. It's nice to have that practice, experience. So this is a good practice piece to do borders on. All right, we got 3 more stitches, I believe, and then we're going to tie off the project. And again, this is 100% cotton, half double crochet, 5mm hook. It will last you a very long time. All right, last stitch, here we go. Yarn over, insert your hook. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, and that's our last stitch. And then I'm gonna do this and tie off. So it's basically just a chain 1 and pull. I had already cut my yarn. So anyways, all right, so that is the end. Now we will weave in our ends. All right, so let's just grab a simple darning needle. Okay, we're gonna insert our yarn through there. This is my way of weaving in my ends. Again, everyone's gonna do it a little bit differently. You wanna go a couple inches in a certain direction. I usually do go through the top part of my project because it's usually the same color. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go a couple more inches. You want to go about 2 to 3 directions to have it nice and secure. Sometimes that's going to happen. The yarn's going to come out. Let me put you back in there. I like a nice, oh, see, sometimes that's going to happen too. It's okay. The yarn is going to be hidden in the project. Just pull it up. Okay. Let's go back in this direction. Just kind of, you don't want to go necessarily straight through. You do want to have some actual weaving through the stitches. Okay, let's pull through there. Okay, and then I pull a little bit. Not the best weaving work I've ever done, but it is what it is. I'm going to go through these stitches down here too. This is our third direction. And then we're going to do the bottom piece. Maybe that'll look a little bit nicer. Okay, we're going to go through there. Pull your yarn through. All right, so we've gone 3 directions. Again, not my best weaving work, but it is what it is, okay? Okay, then let's go to the bottom. Insert your yarn through the eye of the needle. And again, this yarn is blending in with this yarn. So we're just going to go a couple inches this way. Go through there. All right, let's pull through. Sometimes when you get it through, that needle's not going to pull it all the way, so you got to find the part that is connected to the tail and just pull that through, straighten it out a little bit. And then let's go back in this direction. Just kind of work your way through. Sorry, I'm looking at my camera screen sometimes while I'm working, and that clearly makes it more difficult. So let me focus on the project. I just wanted to make sure it was in sight. Okay, now we're going to pull back through there. Straighten out your project to loosen out the tension, and then one more direction. This one happened to have more light purple to weave through versus the other end when it had more teal, so it's kind of harder to hide that dark purple. So this is a better example of weaving in and being able to hide it better. I felt like I was a little bit more limited in my space with the dark purple. Go a little bit further, and I will pull through there. And this is also, you know, you can always practice blocking with this as well. I have a blocking board, a bamboo blocking board, and I will show that in a later video. All right, so now your washcloth is complete. We've done half double crochet, we weaved in our ends, and now you can use it for whatever you like. It's a good exfoliator. It's great for baby sensitive skin because it's 100% cotton. Scrubbing dishes, whatever you'd like. This is the texture, the pattern, obviously reversible, and it's great. Here it is compared to my hand, fold it in half. Anyways, it's a great gift. I gave everyone in my family one for Easter. So enjoy and let me know what you think in the comments.